But what is the biggest thing you could say to parents right now whose kids having seizures and they don't know what to do?
Yeah, so can I just say one thing before
Oh,
that?
please, yeah.
Yeah, I think the other thing that first do no harm paid attention to, and that we try to pay attention to, is the effect of siblings on siblings of sick kids, because it has a really profound effect. I mean, in my family, Charlie has an older brother and sister, and um, it messed them up a lot, especially his older brother. Um, and his older brother has since given talks to families, to siblings of kids with epilepsy. And you can almost see the relief in the other sibling's face because he says, how could I hate someone I love for having a disease he can't control? And I think lots of siblings feel that way. And they try to shield their feelings from the parents because they know the parents have their hands full with the sick kid and they don't really have anybody to talk to about their most severe feelings. And that's a
Well, I do have it.
greatly under recognized.
I do have it. Let's include that.
One of the things that angered me most about my brother's epilepsy was that it ruined how I wanted things to be. Directions would be altered, plans would change, conversations would end abruptly, foods were banned from the dinner table, and my feelings would be hurt, and I would get angry. My family and I took a trip to Florida once, and in the midst of my enjoyment and bliss, Charlie, who'd been seizure free for a few months, had a relapse. A grand mal seizure rolled his eyes back, like the pictures on a slot machine, engulfing my little brother and leaving him shaking stiff as a board. A high pitched squeal released from a body so innocent and sweet that it seemed impossible to produce such a faith crushing noise. That sound sent my parents in shock, my sister into tears, and me into a hurricane of resentment, fear, anger, and hatred. Why did he have to have these things at the most inopportune time? Why did everybody drop everything and go attend to him? Why did he ruin happy situations? Why did the room go dead and stale, everybody unable to make eye contact with each other? Why did everything get so quiet? Why did I hate someone I love for having a disease he cannot control? So many fears, questions, and doubts still circulate through my head concerning my little brother Charlie. He is 18 years old, had his first seizure when he was 1, and has his last when he was 5 after being cured by the ketogenic diet. I love my little brother very much and want to be part of his life, and sometimes I'm not sure how to approach the situation. I have worked on our relationship through therapy and other forms of help, and am working on spending more time with Charlie himself. I can be tentative around him, tiptoeing at times, wondering how to engage, when to leave him alone, which I sometimes do too often, and when to force him out the door with me. My actions surrounding Charlie's epilepsy have always been a challenge for me, dating back to when Charlie first started having seizures. When there seemed no way of ceasing Charlie's seizures, I was afraid to bring kids home from school for fear that Charlie would have a seizure in front of them. I went further and further inside, distancing myself from others in an attempt to protect from further hurt. The defense mechanisms I utilized into my teen years increased my introverted behavior and further complicated the emotions surrounding Charlie's epilepsy. Having a sibling with epilepsy was something I was incapable of processing in a healthy way without the help of others. I hated the fact that he stole the spotlight. I disliked that every family conversation concentrated on his disease, and I didn't want to stir the already fragile nest that was my family by inserting my own issues regarding the situation, along with whatever other frailties I had as a growing teenager. Feelings of jealousy and anger were a constant, and it is fair to say that there were, and still are, times when I lose patience and ignore my little brother's existence. Ours is a relationship of frustration, hurt, envy, misinterpretation, confusion, and most of all, an underlying love that has begun to, over time, prevail more and more. I know there is much that we can share, and it is only a matter of time before we access it and let it pour out onto a greater level. I have little doubt our growth will come with its fair share of difficulties and a continued effort from both sides. Through Charlie, I have learned a lot. For years, I have watched him emanate love and compassion to all who are who are lucky enough to have him present in their life. It is clear that he needs me just as much as I need him. We are brothers who share a challenging history together, which has cultivated a love that will forever allow us to teach and learn from one another. I'm grateful he is in my life.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Very potent.
That's
extremely
some
powerful.
profound introspect.
Yeah. And I think his feelings are are typical of most siblings.
Yeah, I showed that to my son, my oldest son, and when he was 5 or 6, he was going through it, and he just looked at it, and I said, "What do you think?" And he's like, "That's about right." I asked him the other day. I had him watch it again. Now he's 15, and he's like, "About 30%." But it's really for a young kid. Yeah, for older brother, you have no idea, especially if it was the only child first, like my oldest son.
Right.
Had no idea what was going on. His life was turned upside down. His whole sense of reality, it was traumatic. I mean, he must have blocked out a lot of it. He doesn't remember, but I mean, he must have blocked out a lot of it for a 5-year-old to go through that with his brother. So thank you for your son. He looked like a great guy too. How's he doing?
He's
Your
great.
oldest. Yeah.
Now it's kind of interesting. He has a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. And when they were a little younger, he imagined what it would have been like if either of his kids had gotten sick. And I think he had a much deeper appreciation for what our family went through when his little brother was sick.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't know what it's like to be a parent until you are one in all ways.
Exactly. This has been a real treat, Jim. Thank you so much for sharing
Thank
your
you,
time.
guys.
And
People right now, how can they help the Charlie Foundation? What can they do?
Well, it's always wonderful to hear other people's stories. We do, we are a not-for-profit, and so, we're supported, and we've never taken a nickel of help from any for-profit organization. So we live on donations, and so they're helpful, and you can do that through our website if you feel like it. And the other thing is just, take a look and see what on there, this whole notion of controlling our own medical destiny is important. And I've certainly, should I tell one other quick story?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So 10 years in 2001, I was diagnosed with leukemia, acute myelogenous leukemia, and I was given a 50% chance of living 2 years. And the first doctor I went to reminded me of Charlie's doctor from UCLA. He was like too busy to answer questions and whatnot. And so really based on Charlie's decision, I started searching around for other places to go to treat the leukemia and get what wound up curing me was a stem cell transplant from my sister. But it was really the lessons learned from our experience with Charlie that got me to start thinking a little bit outside the box and not just trusting the first guy who came along.
good for you. We're glad you did. We're glad you're
Excellent
here.
advice.
How long ago was that again?
That was 2000. Well, I got the transplant in 2003. I think I was diagnosed 2001 or something like that, 2002.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. We gotta do a whole nother video on that alone.
Oh yeah.
Hey, if you like these kind of conversations and you'd like to see more, click like and subscribe to our channel. And if you're at the computer and you'd like to hear the whole podcast, click right here.